I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana. I was born there. I'm not funny about age. I was born there in 1971. All of my family born and raised in Louisiana. We had some left as a result of marriage or jobs, but most of my immediate family stayed there really until Katrina. But New Orleans is such a unique place in terms of the fusion of culture, whether that be from European culture to African diaspora. So I remember it was a vibrant place, a place that I was around so many different kinds of people, but I probably didn't realize the nature of that even as a kid.
I didn't really love the arts at first. I mean, I grew up in the church. My father was a pastor and a minister, so we were constantly in the church. And we were put into the choirs, and I didn't really like singing at that point, but crying and singing at the same time, got through it. But as I got older, I started to appreciate it, and I do appreciate my parents for kind of like seeing that in me, because I didn't see it at that point in my life. But even before that, Rose Weaver once came to my school. She came in and she taught us about jazz. She taught us about, the African American roots in history and the music and the arts. And I remember she came in and did It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing. And she taught us how to swing dance a little bit, little elementary kids trying to figure it out. But
Tell me a secret, something about you that many people don't know. I'll go first. When she mentioned swing dance, I remember that I've always wanted to learn how to swing dance. Not only swing dance, every other form of dance. Even those that people may look at you kind of weird if men is doing it, even though men do it like ballet.
And I remember she came in and did It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing. And she taught us how to swing dance a little bit, little elementary kids trying to figure it out. But it definitely sent a spark. It started the spark as far as the love of the arts and the love of performing and just being you, and being comfortable in your own skin. So.
I fell in love with hip hop music when I saw DMX Rough Riders anthem. Right? It was something about the pit bull biting the tire and the four wheelers, just, you know what I'm saying? You hear that beat drop. I was like, oh, this is hard. I like this right here, right? It was something about it that just drew me in, right?
Let me know, who was it that gave you the love and the passion for hip hop?
So I fell in love with hip hop, and through hip hop, also a love for words and poetry, because that's really what hip hop is, rhythmic African poetry. That's what it stands for, right? That's what rap stands for. Where I got introduced to it as far as me personally, like my involvement, it was a lot of things that fell into place for that. There was my mother, getting ready to put her foot up my behind because I wasn't doing my schoolwork and I was just being lazy at home. So she told me I had to get an after-school hobby or a job. It was this English teacher who actually, invited me. He liked the way I carried myself, and he invited me to, be a part of this theater program. Only one year that they ever did it. It was my freshman year in high school.
Let me know the name of that teacher that stood out for you. For me, it was many different teachers. There was Deborah Lancaster. She was the music teacher in elementary school. It was Miss Bonner. She was my fifth grade teacher. It was Miss Hill, eighth grade teacher. It was so many different teachers.
Because he even asked me, he was like, you ever thought about acting? I was like, I've been acting a fool my whole life. Maybe I'll be all right at it, right? That was always my joke back then. And on my way to the first reading, I was sitting there thinking up of excuses for how I can get out of it. I really ended up finding myself through the process of having a sense of belonging.
Now, when it comes to acting, I'm gonna be honest with you, I thought acting would have been great for me because I never understood exactly what it is I want to do in life. But I knew when it comes to acting, in one movie or TV show, I can be one thing, and then in a completely different movie or TV show or different episode, I could be something completely different. And that's when I found my love for writing. It's like I can create different characters or different versions of myself in each book. Tell me about it and tell me your thoughts in the comments.
I went to Notre Dame, and like a lot of things that I've done in my life, I went to Notre Dame. I didn't even know they had a football team. I didn't even know there was a Golden Dome. To be brutally honest with you, that even my relationship to blackness and to understanding what the struggles of our people have been historically, that really became it became more crystallized for me during college. You need them to take responsibility. You know, there was a problem with black student retention. There was no center, no hub. There was no director of multicultural education. Nothing. There was a place to go. So it all led to, we staged a sit-in. It was the end of my junior year of college. We all met around campus, different satellite campus areas, and we walked toward the Golden Dome. We shut down the Golden Dome. We walked in, we had sleeping bags, food, music, black folk, white folk, all kind of folk, football players, everybody piling in, and we piled in and we shut the building down for a day after handing them our demands. And that began a discussion that I'm proud to this day to say that my brother went back to Notre Dame 10 years after I finished. And there was an Office of Multicultural Affairs. And there were more black faculty. And the climate was less hostile. But, you know, I was so tired after all of that. I felt a little bit defeated because there was really no outcome at that time. And so I'm like, well, the last thing I want to do is mess up my GPA, so I'll take an acting class, since I took my first acting class in my senior year of college, and it changed my life. I didn't know that much about Providence or about the idea of making a life here, so once again, making a decision purely on my gut. And my gut was that I wanted to be part of a community.
For me, I see joy as kind of a charging port for Black people in America. Yes. And, you know, getting joy and being like, all right, I can go out and face the world again. Have you experienced that here? People coming in, having a bad day and leaving more joyous?
Absolutely. Every single rehearsal, there's always somebody that comes in, they had a bad day, but they leave laughing. They leave at least having a smile on their face at some point during the rehearsal. There are people that have their own struggles, their own burdens. I mean, people are taking care of their moms or elderly, or, you know, whatever situation that they're in, and this is a place where they come to unload and shake that off for a little while and recharge, so that when they do go back to their tasks, they have a little more energy to go with. This is a charging place. It's a charging station for a majority of the community that comes through. Conception of the project usually starts with something that needs to be said or something that needs to be done. Our last concert, Greatness of Gospel 14, was based around freedom. The reason we chose freedom was because it seemed like during the times that we're living in right now, everybody seems so heavy and everyone seems so bound by the fear. There's so much, you know, fear in this world right now. People just need to be broken free. They need to be released in a certain kind of a way.
All units responding, 110 Calhoun State.
Active shooter, multiple people down.
Revealed that he had been planning the attack for some time and that he chose the church because it was an historic African-American church. Sources say he also...
I never forget watching all the coverage around the shooting at Mother Emanuel Church. I won't say the kid's name, but he walked in and shopped the place. They were in the middle of praying. And it was so deep because there were lots of conversations going around, you know, on the interweb about the grace of those people and their capacity to forgive. And I had to be with myself on that too, because my gut reaction was, you know, you ready to go out and destroy stuff, you know. The rage, the anger, but yet you watch those people who went through something unspeakable still be able to find that grace.
Felicia had lost her son, and I said, if she could forgive, why are you so hard-hearted you can't forgive? There's no healing with hatred. You have to love each other.
In the midst of so much adversity we really sometimes can't even name. And we can go on and on about all those things that have been heaped upon a people But to me, the joy is that phoenix rising from the ash. And we, as a people, continue to do that. Narrative is a powerful thing. We tell a lot of stories in this country, some of which are not true. But those narratives shape how we see ourselves.
So these days, I speak like my tongue has eyes, watching everything I say, quicker to shake hands than I am to throw them. Even when my fists want to drunk drive themselves into someone's face, I find sobriety.
We're connected. We live in a foundation of love. You know what I'm saying? That's our foundation. And so, like, you know, it's sad to see how through, you know what I'm saying, poverty and through manipulation tactics and stuff like that or whatever, you see it starting to switch now. But Black joy still always exists regardless to what the situation is in some form of fashion. Even if it's something that we look at and is like sad, but they still find a way to have some kind of joy within it.
Black joy is grace. It's in our DNA. It's from the drum. It's from the song. It's from the mother. It's from the father. It's from our capacity to reshape and to reinvent. It's our love of color, because we are so many colors. It's about the recognition in that moment that you see me beyond how everybody else sees me. In that, I find joy.
You know, I was going to say, can y'all please go into the comments and give me your definition of what Black joy is? But I'm not going to say that. No, I'm not going to ask that at all. What I'm going to ask is, tell me what is your favorite version of Black joy? For me, it is the fact that Black people are the most seriously unserious people ever. You can take an event and it could be sad all over. It could be so much hurt buried inside of it. And Black people could find some way to crack a smile, find some way to create laughter, just to take your mind off of it, if it's just for a split second. That is my favorite version of Black joy. While you think about that for a minute and tell me in the comments, please paint me a picture. But as always, don't forget to like, share, watch more videos, and subscribe to the channel.